The 2002 National Electrical Code, specifically Section 384.24, contained a provision that forbade the splicing of neutral conductors within panelboards. This requirement meant that neutral conductors had to be continuous from their source to their termination point within the panelboard without any intermediate splices. The rationale behind this restriction was primarily to ensure the integrity of the neutral connection and minimize the risk of creating high impedance paths. High impedance neutral connections can lead to a variety of electrical problems, including voltage imbalances, harmonic distortion, and equipment malfunction. The continuous neutral conductor provided a reliable and low impedance return path for current, contributing to a safer and more stable electrical system. However, this restriction presented practical challenges in certain installation scenarios. For example, in situations where existing neutral conductors were too short to reach the intended termination point, or where modifications to the electrical system required the relocation of neutral conductors, adhering to the no-splicing rule could necessitate the replacement of entire conductor runs. This could be a time-consuming and costly undertaking, especially in large or complex electrical installations. The 2005 National Electrical Code saw a significant change in this requirement. Section 384.24, which previously prohibited neutral conductor splicing in panelboards, was revised to remove this restriction. The removal of this provision meant that splices were now permitted in neutral conductors within panelboards, provided that the splices were made in accordance with accepted industry practices and using approved splicing methods and materials. This change was likely driven by a combination of factors, including the recognition that properly made splices can provide reliable and safe connections, and the desire to provide greater flexibility in electrical installations and modifications. With the allowance for splicing, it became easier to address situations where neutral conductors needed to be extended or relocated without requiring the complete replacement of wiring. The key consideration following the 2005 change was the quality and reliability of the splices themselves. The National Electrical Code emphasizes the importance of using splicing methods and materials that are listed and labeled for the intended application. This typically means using connectors and splicing techniques that have been tested and certified by recognized testing laboratories such as Underwriters Laboratories, or UL. These connectors are designed to provide a secure and reliable electrical connection, minimizing the risk of loose connections, overheating, and arcing. Acceptable splicing methods include the use of mechanical connectors such as set screw connectors, compression connectors, and split bowl connectors, as well as the use of crimp connectors. Each of these methods has its own advantages and disadvantages, and the selection of the appropriate method depends on factors such as the size and type of conductor, the environmental conditions, and the specific requirements of the installation. Mechanical connectors rely on physical pressure to establish a secure connection between the conductors. Set screw connectors use a screw to tighten the conductor against a metal plate, while compression connectors use a tool to compress the connector around the conductor, creating a tight and permanent bond. Split bolt connectors are typically used for larger conductors and involve tightening two bolts to clamp the conductors together. Crimp connectors, on the other hand, use a specialized crimping tool to deform the connector around the conductor, creating a gas-tight seal that helps to prevent corrosion. In addition to using approved splicing methods and materials, it is also important to ensure that the splices are properly insulated. The National Electrical Code requires that splices be insulated to a level that is equivalent to the insulation of the original conductors. This can be achieved by using insulating tape, heat shrink tubing, or other approved insulating materials. The insulation should be applied in multiple layers, overlapping each layer to ensure complete coverage and to prevent moisture from entering the splice. Furthermore, the location of the splices within the panelboard is also an important consideration. The National Electrical Code requires that splices be accessible for inspection and maintenance. This means that the splices should be located in a manner that allows them to be easily inspected without having to disassemble the panelboard or remove other components. In many cases, this involves locating the splices in a dedicated wiring trough or raceway within the panelboard. It is also important to ensure that the splices are properly supported and secured within the panel board. This helps to prevent the splices from becoming loose or damaged due to vibration or movement. Cable ties, clamps, and other supporting hardware can be used to secure the splices to the panel board enclosure. In summary, while the 2002 National Electrical Code prohibited neutral conductor splicing in panel boards, the 2005 National Electrical Code removed this restriction, allowing splices to be made provided that they are done in accordance with accepted industry practices and using approved splicing methods and materials. The key considerations include using listed and labeled connectors, properly insulating the splices, ensuring accessibility for inspection and maintenance, and providing adequate support and securement. It's also pertinent to understand the implications of neutral conductor sizing and grounding within panel boards, as these factors play a crucial role in the overall safety and performance of the electrical system. Neutral conductors carry the imbalanced current from single-phase loads and the current resulting from harmonic distortion in three-phase systems. The National Electrical Code provides specific guidelines for sizing neutral conductors based on the expected load and the type of equipment being served. In some cases, the neutral conductor may need to be larger than the phase conductors to accommodate the anticipated neutral current. Grounding, on the other hand, is the process of connecting the electrical system to the earth, providing a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source. This helps to protect against electrical shock and to prevent equipment damage in the event of a ground fault. The National Electrical Code requires that all metal enclosures, including panel boards, be properly grounded. This can be achieved by connecting the enclosure to a grounding electrode system, such as a ground rod or a metal water pipe. The grounding electrode system provides a direct connection to the earth, ensuring that the enclosure is at ground potential. In addition to grounding the enclosure, it is also important to ground the neutral conductor at the service entrance. This is typically done by connecting the neutral conductor to the grounding electrode system. This connection helps to stabilize the neutral voltage and to prevent voltage fluctuations that could occur due to imbalances in the electrical system. The size of the grounding conductor is determined by the size of the service entrance conductors, as specified in the National Electrical Code. The grounding conductor must be large enough to safely carry the maximum fault current that could occur in the event of a ground fault. Furthermore, the National Electrical Code also addresses the issue of bonding, which is the process of connecting all metal parts of the electrical system together to create a continuous electrical path. Bonding helps to minimize voltage differences between different metal parts, reducing the risk of electrical shock. The National Electrical Code requires that all metal raceways, enclosures, and equipment be properly bonded together. This can be achieved by using bonding jumpers, which are short lengths of conductor that connect the different metal parts together. The size of the bonding jumpers is determined by the size of the circuit conductors, as specified in the National Electrical Code. In addition to the general requirements for neutral conductor sizing, grounding, and bonding, there are also specific requirements for panel boards used in certain applications. For example, panel boards used in healthcare facilities must comply with additional requirements to ensure patient safety. These requirements include the use of isolated power systems, which are designed to minimize the risk of electrical shock in critical care areas. Panel boards used in hazardous locations, such as areas where flammable gases or vapors are present, must also comply with additional requirements to prevent explosions. These requirements include the use of explosion-proof enclosures and intrinsically safe circuits. The National Electrical Code is constantly evolving to keep pace with changes in technology and to address new safety concerns. It is important for electrical contractors and engineers to stay up to date with the latest edition of the National Electrical Code and to understand the requirements for neutral conductor sizing, grounding, bonding, and panel board installations. By following the requirements of the National Electrical Code, it is possible to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. The rules and regulations outlined in the National Electrical Code are not static. They undergo revisions and updates to reflect advancements in technology, address emerging safety concerns, and refine existing practices. It is crucial for electrical professionals to remain informed about these changes through continuous education and training. Code updates often involve clarifications, modifications, or entirely new requirements that can significantly impact electrical installations. Understanding these changes ensures that electrical work adheres to the latest safety standards and best practices. Moreover, the National Electrical Code is not just a set of rules to be followed blindly. It is based on sound engineering principles and a thorough understanding of electrical phenomena. Grasping the underlying rationale behind each requirement can help electrical professionals make informed decisions in complex situations and apply the code effectively. For example, understanding the principles of grounding and bonding can enable electricians to design and install grounding systems that provide optimal protection against electrical shock and equipment damage. Similarly, understanding the principles of overcurrent protection can help engineers select appropriate fuses and circuit breakers to prevent overloads and short circuits. In addition to technical knowledge, effective communication is also essential for electrical professionals. They must be able to clearly explain technical concepts to clients, colleagues, and inspectors. This includes explaining the rationale behind code requirements, the potential risks associated with non-compliance, and the steps taken to ensure safety and reliability. Effective communication can help build trust, prevent misunderstandings, and ensure that everyone involved in a project is on the same page. Furthermore, electrical professionals must be able to document their work accurately and thoroughly. This includes creating detailed drawings, specifications, and calculations that demonstrate compliance with the National Electrical Code and other applicable standards. Proper documentation is essential for quality control, troubleshooting, and future modifications or repairs. It also provides a record of the work performed, which can be valuable in the event of a dispute or legal claim. The removal of the prohibition on neutral conductor splicing in panelboards in the 2005 National Electrical Code highlights the importance of understanding the code's intent and applying it judiciously. While splices are now permitted, they must be made in a manner that ensures the integrity and reliability of the electrical system. This requires careful selection of splicing methods and materials, proper installation techniques, and thorough inspection and testing. The National Electrical Code provides guidance on these aspects, but ultimately it is the responsibility of the electrical professional to ensure that the splices are safe and effective. In conclusion, the evolution of the National Electrical Code regarding neutral conductor splicing in panelboards reflects a broader trend towards greater flexibility and adaptability in electrical installations. While the code provides a framework for safe and reliable electrical systems, it also recognizes that there is often more than one way to achieve the desired outcome. By staying informed, understanding the underlying principles, communicating effectively, and documenting their work thoroughly, electrical professionals can navigate the complexities of the National Electrical Code and ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. The emphasis on proper splicing techniques after the 2005 National Electrical Code underscores the importance of continuous learning and skill development for electrical professionals. As technology advances and new materials and methods become available, it is essential to stay abreast of the latest developments and to adapt one's practices accordingly. This can involve attending training courses, reading industry publications, and participating in professional organizations. Continuous learning not only enhances one's technical skills but also broadens one's understanding of electrical systems and the National Electrical Code. This can lead to more innovative and efficient solutions, as well as a greater ability to troubleshoot complex problems. Moreover, the ability to adapt to new technologies and methods is essential for career advancement. As the electrical industry evolves, employers are increasingly seeking professionals who have a strong foundation in electrical principles and a willingness to learn and adapt. Those who embrace continuous learning are more likely to be successful in their careers and to make a positive contribution to the industry. The decision to remove the prohibition on neutral conductor splicing in panelboards also reflects a growing recognition of the importance of risk management and electrical safety. While splices can introduce potential points of failure, they also offer greater flexibility in certain situations, such as when modifying existing electrical systems or extending conductor runs. By carefully evaluating the risks and benefits of splicing, electrical professionals can make informed decisions that minimize the likelihood of accidents or equipment damage. Risk management involves identifying potential hazards, assessing the likelihood and severity of those hazards, and implementing measures to mitigate them. This can include selecting appropriate splicing methods and materials, ensuring proper installation techniques, and conducting thorough inspections and testing. It also involves communicating the risks to clients and colleagues and involving them in the decision-making process. The National Electrical Code provides guidance on risk management through its various requirements and recommendations. By following the code and applying sound engineering judgment, electrical professionals can create electrical systems that are both safe and reliable. In addition to risk management, the decision to allow neutral conductor splicing also reflects a growing emphasis on sustainability in the electrical industry. By allowing splices, it is possible to reuse existing conductors and materials, reducing the need for new resources. This can help to minimize the environmental impact of electrical installations and to promote a more sustainable approach to electrical design and construction. Sustainability involves considering the environmental, social, and economic impacts of electrical systems. This includes reducing energy consumption, minimizing waste, and using environmentally friendly materials. It also involves promoting social equity and ensuring that electrical systems are accessible to all members of the community. The National Electrical Code addresses sustainability through various requirements and recommendations, such as those related to energy efficiency, renewable energy, and the use of recycled materials. By following the code and adopting sustainable practices, electrical professionals can help to create a more environmentally responsible and socially just electrical industry. The history of the National Electrical Code stance on neutral conductor splicing and panelboards serves as a reminder that electrical safety is an ongoing process of learning, adaptation, and innovation. By staying informed, embracing continuous learning, practicing risk management, and promoting sustainability, electrical professionals can contribute to a safer, more reliable, and more environmentally responsible electrical industry. Understanding the specific language and intent behind each code change is also critical. The 2005 revision, for instance, didn't simply say splices were now okay everywhere without condition. It implied, and related sections clarified, that any splice had to be made with approved methods and materials, properly insulated, accessible for inspection, and mechanically secure. These aren't just suggestions, they are requirements as important as the initial ban itself. Skipping them voids any allowance granted by the code change. It's also key to remember that local amendments can further restrict or clarify national electrical code rules. A jurisdiction might reinstate a splicing ban, add stricter rules, or require specific types of connectors. Always check local regulations first. Moreover, the types of panel boards matter. Residential panels, commercial distribution boards, industrial control panels each have specific nuances in how neutral conductors are handled. The code addresses these in different sections, and the allowance or disallowance of splicing could depend on the panel's application. Neutral bar configurations, grounding electrode conductor connections, and equipment grounding conductor terminations all influence how splices, if permitted, are executed. Finally, consider the context of the circuit. A lighting circuit neutral splice has different implications than a high current motor circuit neutral splice. Voltage drop, harmonic distortion, and fault current carrying capacity all come into play. Simply applying a blanket allowance without considering these factors can create unsafe conditions. Therefore, the 2005 National Electrical Code change wasn't a free pass. It was a carefully considered shift that required a deeper understanding of electrical principles and a more diligent application of code requirements to ensure continued safety.